Welcome to the InSession Film Podcast for May 11th, 2014. This is episode 64, and I'm JD Duran.
I am Blake Bertuzit.
I am Matt Oaks.
Matt Oaks from Silver Screen Riot joining us once again. Thanks for being here, Matt.
I am not wearing pants.
All right. Good to know.
That escalated quickly.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, we maybe should put the asterisk on the podcast here on the listing this time.
Yeah. So,
Spoiler alert.
in case those out there wondering, Matt is not wearing pants. So there you go.
Sans pants.
He's also not in the studio with us, so
Yeah.
that's
Let's make that
okay. He's
clear.
in a separate place.
Yeah, that's important to note.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to spell this out for everybody.
For sure. Well, Matt, in case people aren't familiar with you, and by now they definitely should be, but if they're not, tell us a little bit more about you and where people can find you on the internet.
All right. Well, I run my own site, silverscreenriot.com. I just do reviews. I used to do a lot more movie news, but I've pretty much jettisoned that at this point because everyone else writes about it.
Sure.
I figure my 2 cents is, they used to get a good amount of hits, but I'm just like over it. I do so many movie reviews that.
We were the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. So, reviews, I do a lot of festival coverage. That's kind of my thing. I've already done Sundance this year, which I talked on the show about, and I did South by Southwest. Right now, I am officially getting balls deep in the Seattle International Film Festival. So, it's the 40th anniversary. I'm planning on seeing 40 films there.
Wow.
I've already seen 5.
Yeah, because I remember you saying that was one of the biggest festivals that's out there, right, in the U.S. anyway.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest in the world. There's this year they're showing about 450 films.
Oh, wow. Dang.
So,
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I think only around 250 are narrative feature length, and the rest are short. Or no, it's 150 that are narrative feature length, like 100 docs, 200 short, something around that. But there's a lot to consume.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So, well, if you want to know more about those films, be sure to follow silverscreenriot.com for that. We'll be looking forward to your reviews, Matt, for sure. This week's show is going to be a little bit unique and different, and maybe something that we'll do a couple times throughout the year. But this week, we're going to be doing an InSession Film Throwback review. This is the first time we've ever done this on the main show, which should be fun. And we're going to look at the original 1954 Godzilla, which I rewatched this week, so I'm really looking forward to talking about that. And going off of that, we're going to be discussing our top 3 1950s movies, which is a bit broad, but I think I came up with some really good ones there. And then we're going to move on to talk about some of the latest movie news out there, including the Star Wars casting, which we have not got to talk about quite yet. And as usual, we will finish off the show with films we got to see over the last week. But before we get into that, fellas, how was your week?
Oh, let's see. It was pretty good. Very, very, very busy. I've been in 3 different states this week so far. I started off in California, going to a wedding in Santa Rosa, which is beautiful, gorgeous, tons of fun, lots of delicious food and good drinks. And then then I got home, went to Portland, Oregon. I live in Seattle, by the way. Went down to Portland, Oregon for a couple days to play a show with my band.
Oh, and very fun.
I got back and just worked really hard Thursday, Friday, and had to do some makeup work today. So I've been busy.
Yeah, sounds like it. How was your week, Blake?
Long, busy, kind of the same there. I mean, haven't been traveling around from state to state here, but just every day is so long for me anymore here. Still trying to get into the swing of things here, but
sure.
Overall, not too bad. Just a lot of frustration, like we were talking about earlier there, with some things trying to get break the cycle anyway. So
yeah.
Otherwise, I can't really complain too much.
But it's good to have you back in studio.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back in here. I still hate your stairs.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that.
That was a struggle for me, but it's worth. I need to challenge myself. So
sure.
It's all right. I'll let that one go.
Very cool. Well, it's definitely good to have you back in here. My week, it was very busy as well. I only have 10 days of work left before the wedding, so it's like getting here. And Brandy's dress arrives to our apartment on Monday or Tuesday of this week, so it's really starting to hit me that it's coming up. I feel like when we started this process, we were at over a year, So I remember, we got 400 days to the wedding. We got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Now it's less than 2 weeks, so it's just kind of
Been
crazy.
through like a quick montage. Suddenly we're in an 80s movie, and then suddenly here it is.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm excited. Can't wait to get there. But yeah, I'm ready to talk about Godzilla. So let's get into it.
And here we go.
You're listening to the InSession Film Podcast. This is episode 64. Godzilla.
I think you're thinking of the wrong Godzilla.
その後、ゴジラは京浜地区に向かって接近しつつあります。上陸地点の鉄条網には強力なる電流を通じますから慎重なる注意を要します。繰り返します。方向25度より30度。方向25度より30度。距離850。距離850。
All right, Godzilla is directed by Ishiro Honda and stars a whole bunch of people that I'm not even going to pretend to announce for the sake of butchering them. So I will skip that and leave it to you fellas for that. But let's get into the 1954 original Godzilla. What did you guys think about this film?
So I had the opportunity to see this at the theater. I'd never seen the original before in its entirety. Seen bits and pieces of it here and there. Obviously, I'm familiar with this giant monster from Japan.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
So the first time I actually saw it was just a couple weeks ago, and it's one of those movies that's so iconic and so just built into the cultural zeitgeist of even today that it's hard to kind of look at it and try and judge it on its own without taking into account like just the massive amount of impact that it's had on the culture of film and the culture of monster movies and symbolism in those. So yeah, it was great, cool.
Yeah, this was my first experience with the original cut, the original Japanese version. I had seen the American version of the 54 classic before with Raven Burr. And I think that I kept thinking about the whole entirety of the whole Godzilla chronology and all the movies later on down the line and trying to put it all together here. And this is such a completely different experience. This, at least especially for the time, really was a horror movie.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, one of the little facts about it being like, when in the movie when Godzilla is tearing through Tokyo and is destroying the Toho Theater, people that were watching the movie in that theater freaked out and ran out of the theater because they thought it was really happening.
Sure.
That's true. And at that time,
Sure.
and it's kind of hard for us looking back now with the special effects we've had for however long there and the way they did that. They thought they were trying to like kind of copy King Kong in a way, but they couldn't have the budget to do all the claymation type stuff with that. So that's where, the guy in the suit comes from. But I thought that, for being, at 1954, the way that they arranged some of the effects in it, the way the story was told, again, really making it a horror movie. I mean, there's one scene where he's going through Tokyo and the woman is laying there with her baby and she's like, "We're going to be with your father now. We're going to go see Daddy."
Sure.
I'm like, holy crap, this is actually, horrifying. And it's really, again, kind of, what they really wanted to do there. I mean, we're in 1954. They're still reeling from the end of World War II, the atomic bomb. And they really wanted to make a movie about that, but you can't necessarily do that so soon. So, in a way, it was their way of dealing with that. And I'd heard that before, but really to see it on screen and how scary it actually kind of is in a way. I mean, I loved it. It's like I said, mainly because it was such a different thing. You look at all the other movies down the line, and they kind of turned it into a cartoon character. Sure. Yeah, I mean, actually a real cartoon character at one point, in the 80s. But yeah, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this too. I saw this twice now. I saw it probably a month ago, 2 months ago, and then I revisited it this week for this show. And I think I liked it better the second time around for whatever reason. But you're right, Blake, that this is a really dark movie in a lot of ways. It's not kind of this fun, light tone as we've seen with some of the other Godzilla movies in the past. And you really kind of feel that right away. And I think the score kind of plays into that a little bit as well, which it does have some nice, fun themes actually throughout the film, the score does. But I also think there's kind of a big scale here and kind of this sense of epicness that they kind of build toward, which I kind of liked, especially for the time. I thought he did a really good job of that. And for the entire version of our podcast, be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher, or check us out online at InSessionFilm.com.